Okay, pre-AP. I'm sorry I had to make this video. It's because I have a doctor's appointment, so I'm gonna miss with y'all. But I'm explaining empirical formulas, so if you're with the sub, this should be the first video you watch. So what is an empirical formula? An empirical formula is simply the simplest whole number ratio of a formula. So it's as simple as it can get. So you have some sort of chemical formula, and it is the ratios of atoms in there of the different types of elements is simple whole numbers. Okay, so whole numbers means that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? No half, no quarter, none of that stuff. And then simple means that they are as reduced as they can possibly be. So I have some examples behind me on the board to help you grasp this concept. And then we have one that's not an empirical formula that we're going to reduce, okay? So the first one that is an empirical formula, so water is, okay, so it's H2O. That is a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 hydrogens, I have 1 oxygen. 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. And so that is an empirical formula because it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So it's whole numbers, 2 and 1, and then it's as reduced as it possibly can be, which means that it cannot be divided by anything else but itself or 1. And then down here we have carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is also an empirical formula. It's a 1-to-2 ratio. For every 1 carbon, I have 2 oxygens. Again, simplest whole number ratio is the empirical formula. Simplest whole number ratio. Another example will be carbon monoxide. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, down here is an example of something that is not an empirical formula. This, I have 2,4,2, okay, so which is acetic acid. Okay, and so I have 2 carbons, 4 hydrogens, and 2 oxygens. Okay, and so do you see how all of those can be divided by 2? So are they whole numbers? Yes. Every chemical formula is always going to be whole numbers, but are they the simplest? No, they are not. So this is not an empirical formula. Okay, the other ones are empirical, empirical, empirical. This one is not. The empirical formula for this guy would be CH2O. Okay, so we reduced it to a 1-to-2 to 1 ratio, and then that makes it an empirical formula. Some of you may be watching this and think, okay, so it has to be 1s and 2s. It does not have to be 1s and 2s. It could be a 2 and 3 ratio. So for instance, if I have iron 3 oxide, iron 3 oxide's formula would be Fe2O3. This is a 2-to-3 ratio. I can't reduce those anymore, and it's the simplest whole number ratios. So those are all examples of empirical formulas. I'm going to just give a second so you can see all these, and then I'm going to stop the video, okay?